Hey everybody, it's Kim Beal here, the Broad of the Bay, coming to you after week 1 preseason, which I must say I thought was pretty damn impressive. 29-7 victory. Now I know, and I realize, and again, I am knowledgeable about football, and I am aware that preseason is not the be-all end-all. In fact, a lot of times it's just better if you lose every game in preseason, because then typically you win all the games in regular season. But I just really enjoyed the game. It was kind of fun to watch. It wasn't boring. You know, sometimes preseason games are like a big yawn fest. Think back to the Hall of Fame game. That was not exciting. But I thought the game was good, 29-7. It was really hot here and really, really humid, and it had been like storming big time. It was not a pleasant evening, so I don't think it was super well attended. I don't think I would have sat out there. In fact, I know I would not have sat out there. But a couple of my takeaways from the game. If you know me, you know I'm not like a huge Kyle Trask fan. I just kind of think he's not done much. He followed Tom Brady. He followed Blaine Gabbert when we had him, and then Baker. So he hasn't had a lot of opportunity, in fairness, but he played well. It was great to see him complete like that first pass. Like that was good. It was to our rookie Igbuka. It was exciting. But you know what's funny about Kyle Trask to me is that, you know, this is his fourth or fifth, and he still really does not know how to talk to the media. So when he was interviewed mid-game, after they took him out in the second half, he just kind of sounded not great. I don't want to be super critical because it's not nice, but I think perhaps if he intends on going further in the NFL, he might want to work on his interviewing skills. I just thought they weren't very, very good, but he played well. So that was great. That was nice to see. So then another thing that happened during the game was Rachaad White got hurt, and the thing that was most shocking to me about that was how the camera would not leave him alone. Like, he literally got up and he was grabbing his, male parts. And I said, oh gosh, that's a groin injury. And the camera stayed on him as he got himself up off the ground, hobbled to the sidelines the whole time, grabbing his male parts. And I just kind of was thinking the camera should get off of him. That just seems awkward. But no, they stayed on him the whole time, and he hobbled away holding his male parts. So he is out indefinitely, but I don't think it's going to be super serious injury, so hopefully we'll see him back next week. But in his place, of course, Bucky Irving didn't play. They weren't playing the starters. But Sean Tucker, who we've seen before as a QB 3 or even 4 in the depth chart, but he was great. He had a really good game. He rushed for 50 yards on 13 carries, so I think that's a good showing for him. He's a strong kid, so I like what I see from him. Last year, he played mostly on special teams, so we'll see if he gets a little more action this year. But then there's another guy. His name is Owen Wright, and he was just signed on July 31st. He was fantastic. He was bouncing all over the place, really quick, really speedy. He had 18 carries and got 87 yards. So I thought that was great to see. He reminded me a little bit more of a Bucky Irving in his running style. But so continuing on with a solid running game, which of course is key. Must have the running game to support the passing game. So very, very happy to see that. What else happened this week? A little concerning would be Antoine Winfield Jr. has been out with a lower leg injury since Saturday. I mean, the starters didn't play in the game, but apparently he wouldn't have been able to anyway. So I hope that after signing that huge contract a year, I think it's a year, but he's been plagued with the injury bug. So I hope that's not going to be his legacy. I hope that he can shake it off and get in there. I do believe that Todd Bowles is intending to play some starters this Saturday in Pittsburgh. So at least for a few downs. So hope to see him and hope that this is not a significant injury, and hope for sure that he is not going to be one of those guys who signs a big contract and then gets hurt all the time. Like, that's terrible. Frustrating for him, I'm sure. And then the last thing to share is there was a great article in The Athletic about Jason Light, and primarily about how he drafts, but a lot about his history and how he ended up in Tampa. And again, as you know, I think Jason Light should win the GM of the World award. I think he has been absolutely fantastic, and I think, again, completely underrated. But he said something in the article that caused me a little bit of pause. I was a little bit surprised by it. He said that he kind of wished that he hadn't drafted Devin White, and that had he known what he knew about Devin now, he would not have had him on his board. And basically, it was character related, which I completely understand. There was a time when Devin White refused to go into the game. I think it was in Green Bay, because he was being asked to platoon with KJ Britt, and he just was being a diva, and he wouldn't go in. Now, that is terrible. That is not good, and that is not good sportsmanship. It's not being a good teammate. However, I would say that I don't think we would have gotten to the Super Bowl without him that year. He was an animal. He was incredible in the playoffs, as was the entire defense. I mean, as we know, yes, we had Tom Brady, but the defense got us to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl for us by completely shutting down Mahomes and Kansas City. So I just was a little surprised to read that in the article, because, again, I'm not saying I disagree, and I definitely saw, a change in Devin White in the years after the Super Bowl, and it seems as if he's had a little bit of a hard time sticking with the team. He's had a lot of injuries. He is with the Raiders right now, ironically, so he's trying to make that team, and I hope the best for him. He loves horses. I don't know why I said that and why that matters, but he loves horses. And actually, after the Super Bowl, when we won, when they won, and I, as a fan, celebrated, he brought his horse to Raymond James Stadium and rode around the track with the Super Bowl trophy. That was awesome. I love that. So anyway, it was a great article. If you read The Athletic and you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. And not just as a Bucs fan, but again, people not really realizing how good of a GM Jason Light really, really is. And also how he's learned from his mistakes. He hasn't been like the quintessential drafter his entire career, but what's great about him is he's figured it out. So, and that's all you can ask. Like, you, as any human being, you learn from your mistakes and you just get better. And I believe that he has completely done that. And there was some really kind of touching insight about when he decided he really had to let Jameis Winston go, and that was just really unfortunate, but good article. So once again, I'm all for Jason Light, GM of the World, and the Bucs play the Steelers Saturday night. I will be curious to if we see any action from Aaron Rodgers. But football is back, so game 2 of the preseason coming, and that's it for me, Kim Beal, Broad of the Bay. Arrgh.